Dr. Marcus Chen wiped the sweat from his forehead as he knelt beside the strange metal object. The sun of Kepler 4 to be burned bright overhead, making the work difficult. He had been digging in these alien ruins for 3 months now. Every day brought new mysteries, but today felt different. Marcus, come look at this, called Alain Queen from across the dig site. She was his research partner and best friend. They had worked together for 5 years, exploring dead worlds and ancient civilizations. Alain was smart and brave. She never gave up, even when things looked impossible. Marcus stood up and brushed dirt from his knees. His quantum scanner beeped softly in his hands. The device was the most advanced technology Earth had ever created. It could see through walls, detect hidden objects, and even analyze materials that were millions of years old. "What did you find?" Marcus asked as he walked over to Alain. She was standing next to a large circular stone covered in strange symbols. "Look at these markings," Alain said, pointing to the symbols. "They're different from everything else we've seen here. The patterns are more complex, almost like they're trying to tell us something important." Marcus held up his scanner and pointed it at the stone. The device hummed and glowed blue. Numbers and symbols appeared on its screen. But something strange happened. The scanner began to show images that made no sense. "That's weird," Marcus said, frowning at his device. "The scanner is picking up some kind of energy field, but it's not like anything in our database." Alain moved closer to look at the screen. Her eyes went wide with surprise. "Marcus, is that me on your phone?" Marcus looked at the screen again. There, clear as day, was a photo of Alain. But it was impossible. In the photo, she was wearing a red dress he had never seen before. She was standing in a garden with purple flowers. That didn't exist on any world they had visited. Her hair was longer, and she was smiling at someone outside the frame. "I don't understand," Marcus said, his voice quiet with confusion. "I never took this photo, and you don't own a red dress like that." Alain reached for the device, but Marcus held it tight. More images were appearing on the screen. Another photo showed Alain in what looked like a laboratory, but not any lab they had ever worked in. She was older in this picture, with gray streaks in her hair. In another image, she was younger, maybe in her teens, standing with people who looked like family members Marcus had never met. "This is impossible," Alain whispered. "Where are these photos coming from?" Marcus touched the screen, trying to understand what was happening. Each photo was clear and detailed. They looked real, not like computer-made fakes, but they showed things that had never happened. "Maybe it's a malfunction," Marcus said, but he didn't sound sure. "The alien technology here might be interfering with our equipment." More photos appeared. This time they showed Marcus himself. In one image, he was standing on a mountain he had never climbed. In another, he was shaking hands with a woman he didn't recognize. The strangest photo showed him with a beard and different clothes, working at a desk in an office that looked nothing like his real workplace. "Marcus, look at this one," Alain said, pointing to the screen. The new photo showed both of them together, but they looked different, older, happier somehow. They were wearing matching rings on their fingers and standing in front of a house with a white picket fence. Marcus felt his heart beat faster. He and Alain were friends. Nothing more. They had never talked about romance or marriage. But in this photo, they looked like a happy couple who had been together for years. "I think the scanner is reading something from these ruins," Marcus said, trying to stay calm. "Some kind of data storage system left behind by whoever built this place." "But why would alien data storage have photos of us?" Alain asked. "We've never been here before. Humans only discovered this planet 6 months ago." Marcus didn't have an answer. He kept watching. As more images appeared, some showed Alain in places that looked like Earth, but with different buildings and different people. Others showed her in what looked like space stations or alien worlds he couldn't identify. "Wait," Marcus said suddenly. "Look at the energy readings. They're getting stronger every time a new photo appears. And they're only showing photos when you're standing close to me." Alain stepped back a few feet. The images on the scanner immediately became blurry and started to fade. When she moved closer again, they became clear and sharp. "It's reacting to both of us," she said with excitement, "like it needs both our brain patterns or something." Marcus began to pace around the circular stone. His mind was working fast, trying to solve this puzzle. What if these aren't photos at all? What if there's some kind of recordings or memories from somewhere else? Somewhere else like where? Alain asked. "I don't know. Maybe other dimensions, parallel worlds. The theory exists in quantum physics, but we've never had proof," as if responding to his words. The scanner began to beep rapidly. New images flooded. The screen faster than before. Marcus saw himself in a military uniform, then as a teacher in a classroom, then as an old man sitting on a park bench. Alain appeared in dozens of different sittings, as a doctor, as a pilot, as a mother holding a small child. "This is incredible," Alain breathed. "If these are really images from parallel worlds, then we're seeing infinite versions of ourselves, different lives we could have lived." Marcus nodded slowly. "And somehow, this alien technology can access those other realities. But why? What purpose would it serve?" The sun was beginning to set, painting the alien ruins in shades of orange and purple. The mysterious stone continued to glow softly in response to their presence. Marcus and Alain knew they had discovered something that would change everything humans understood about the universe. But they had no idea that their discovery was about to put all of humanity in the greatest danger it had ever faced. Dr. Marcus Chen sat in his temporary research tent, staring at his device screen. The impossible photos of Alain were still there. Pictures of her laughing in a garden he had never seen. Images of her wearing a blue dress that didn't exist in their world. Photos of her standing next to people who looked familiar but weren't quite right. "This makes no sense," Marcus said to himself. He had checked his device 3 times. There was no way these photos could be on his phone. He had never taken them. Alain walked into the tent, carrying 2 cups of coffee, still looking at those strange pictures. She asked. "I have to figure this out," Marcus replied. "These photos appeared right after I started scanning the alien artifacts. But that should be impossible." Before Alain could answer, they heard shouting from outside. Dr. Sarah Martinez, another researcher on their team, was running toward their tent. Her face looked worried and excited at the same time. "Marcus, Alain, you need to see this," Sarah called out. They followed her to the main research area where 5 other team members had gathered around a table. Everyone was holding their communication devices and talking at once. "The same thing happened to me," said Dr. James Wilson, a young archaeologist. "Look at my phone." James showed them his screen. There were photos of himself, but in these pictures, he had different clothes and was standing in places he had never been. In one photo, he was wearing glasses, but James had perfect vision. In another, he had a beard, but he always kept his face clean. "Mine too," said Dr. Lisa Park, holding up her device. Her photos showed versions of herself with different hair, colors, and in strange locations. Marcus felt his heart beat faster. "When did these appear?" "Right after we started working with the artifacts," Lisa said. Each person's device started showing weird photos of themselves. Dr. Eleanor Rodriguez, the team leader, looked at everyone with serious eyes. "Has anyone tried to figure out where these images are coming from?" Marcus nodded. "Aren't every test I could think of. The photos aren't stored in our devices normally. They seem to be coming from the alien artifacts themselves." "But how is that possible?" Sarah asked. "These are just old stones and metal pieces." Alain walked closer to the artifacts on the table. There were 7 pieces total. They looked like smooth stones with metal lines running through them. The metal parts glow with a soft blue light when humans came near them. "What if these aren't just artifacts?" Alain said slowly. "What if there's some kind of technology?" Dr. Rodriguez picked up one of the glowing pieces. As soon as she touched it, her device made a soft sound. She looked at the screen and her eyes went wide. "More photos just appeared," she whispered. "But these show me as a child in places I've never been." Marcus had an idea. "Let me try something." He took out his scanning equipment and pointed it. At the artifacts, I'm going to run a deep scan and see what happens. The scanner started working. The blue light from the artifacts grew brighter. Suddenly, everyone's devices started making sounds at the same time. Look at your screens, James said with excitement. Each person looked at their device. New photos were appearing one by one. But these weren't just random pictures. They seemed to show the same people, but living different lives. Marcus saw a photo of himself as a teacher in a classroom. Another showed him as a farmer working in fields. One picture showed him wearing a uniform he didn't recognize. These look like different versions of us, Alain said quietly, like we're seeing ourselves, living other lives. Dr. Rodriguez put down the artifact and stepped back. This is beyond anything we've ever discovered. These objects are showing us something that shouldn't be possible. Sarah picked up another artifact. Her device immediately showed new images. Look at this one, she said, showing the screen to others. This photo shows me with people who look like my family, but they're different somehow. Different how? Marcus asked. My brother in this photo has brown eyes, but in real life, he has blue eyes. My mother looks younger, but she's wearing clothes from a style I don't recognize. Dr. Wilson had been quiet, studying his photos carefully. I think I understand what's happening. He said, these artifacts might be showing us parallel worlds. Everyone turned to look at him. Parallel worlds, Lisa asked, like science fiction. Think about it. Wilson continued. What if there are many versions of reality? In some worlds, maybe I need glasses. In others, maybe Sarah's brother has different colored eyes. These artifacts might be windows into those other worlds. Marcus felt excited. This could be the discovery of a lifetime. But why do they only work for us? We've had alien research teams visit this site before. None of them reported anything like this. Alain had been thinking quietly. What if it's something special about humans? She suggested. What if our minds work in a way that can connect with this technology? Dr. Rodriguez picked up her communication device and called the main research station. This is Rodriguez. I need to speak with command. Immediately, while she talked to headquarters, the others continued studying the photos on their devices. Look at this, Marcus said, showing a photo to Alain. This picture shows both of us, but we're in some kind of laboratory I've never seen. Alain looked at the image in the photo. She and Marcus were wearing white coats and working with equipment that looked more advanced than anything in their world. We look happy in this picture, she said softly. In most of these photos, people look happy. James observed, even when they're different from how we really are. Dr. Rodriguez finished her call and came back to the group. Command is sending more researchers. They want to study this immediately. What did you tell them? Marcus asked. I told them we found artifacts that respond to human consciousness in ways we don't understand. I told them these objects might be the most important discovery in human history. Lisa looked at her device again. More photos keep appearing. It's like the artifacts are showing us endless possibilities, endless versions of ourselves. Sarah added. Marcus looked around at his team members. Each person was holding their device, staring at images of lives they had never lived. But somehow, looking at these pictures felt familiar, like seeing memories of dreams they had forgotten. Whatever these artifacts are, Marcus said, they're trying to tell us something important about who we are. The blue light from the artifacts grew even brighter, as if responding to his words. Alain smiled. Maybe they're showing us that being human is more special than we ever imagined. 3 days had passed since the artifacts started showing impossible photos. The research camp was now filled with scientists from around the world. Everyone wanted to understand the strange objects that only work for humans. Dr. Marcus Chen sat in the main research tent with Alain and the original team. They had been studying the artifacts non-stop. The blue glow from the objects had grown stronger each day. The photos are changing, Dr. Sarah Martinez said, looking at her device. At first, they showed us living different lives. Now they show us in places that look scared. Marcus looked at his own screen. The latest photos showed versions of himself and his team members, but their faces looked worried and afraid. In the background of many photos, there was something dark and empty that seemed to swallow the light around it. I've been tracking the pattern, Dr. Eleanor Rodriguez said, showing her notes to the group. The happy photos came first, then normal, everyday photos. Now we're seeing images where people look frightened. Elaine pointed to her device. This new photo shows me running from something, but I can't see what's chasing me. Dr. James Wilson had been working with the scanning equipment all morning. I think the artifacts are trying to communicate with us, he said. The photos aren't random. They're telling us a story. What kind of story? Marcus asked, before Wilson could answer. All the artifacts suddenly glowed much brighter than before. Every device in the tent started making sounds at the same time. Look at your screens, shouted Dr. Lisa Part. This time, the photos were different. Instead of still pictures, they showed moving images like videos. Marcus watched his screen as a version of himself appeared to be talking directly to him. The other Marcus looked tired and scared. He was in a place that looked like their research camp, but everything around him was darker and broken. Then, incredibly, the other Marcus began to speak. His voice came from the device speakers. If you can see this message, then you found the artifacts. The other Marcus said, My name is Marcus Chen, but I'm not from your world. I'm from a timeline where everything went wrong. The real Marcus felt his heart stop. This is impossible, he whispered. The other Marcus continued speaking. The artifacts were left by a species called the Builders. They created these objects as a warning system. They knew that something terrible was coming. Elaine grabbed Marcus's arm. Look at everyone's devices. They're all showing different people talking to us. She was right. Each team member was seeing a different version of themselves, speaking from their screens. The other Elaine on the device looked sad but determined. We discovered the artifacts 3 months ago in our timeline, she said. We thought they were just showing us parallel worlds for fun. We were wrong. Dr. Rodriguez's alternate self appeared on her screen. The photos showed us happy versions of ourselves first, the other Rodriguez explained. Then normal versions, then scared versions. This was the pattern every timeline followed before the attack. Attack, the real Rodriguez said. Out loud. What attack? As if hearing her question, the other Rodriguez continued. There is something out there in space. We call it the Void Collective. It travels between realities, destroying worlds where intelligent life learns to feel emotions and create art. Marcus felt cold. Why would it do that? The other Marcus on his screen looked directly at him. Because emotions and creativity are the only things that can stop it. The Void Collective feeds on emptiness and fear. But when beings learn to love, to hope, to create beautiful things, they become dangerous to it. The other Wilson appeared. On Dr. Wilson's device, most species in the universe never develop strong emotions, he explained. They stay logical and practical. The Void Collective can easily destroy their worlds. But humans are different, the other Sarah said from Dr. Martinez's screen. We feel everything deeply. We create art, music, stories. We love each other even when it's not logical. This makes us the collective's greatest enemy. The other Lisa looked directly at Dr. Park. The Builders were like us. They felt emotions and created beautiful things. They fought the Void Collective for thousands of years. Did they win? The real Lisa asked. The other Lisa shook her head sadly. They lost, but before they died, they created these artifacts. They're warning systems for species like us. Species that might be able to do what they couldn't. Marcus leaned closer to his screen. What do you mean? The other Marcus smiled, but it was a sad smile. In our timeline, we learned about the collective too late. It destroyed most of our world before we could fight back. But we discovered something important before the end. What did you discover? Elaine asked. The other Elaine looked at her. We learned that human consciousness can exist across multiple timelines at once. When we feel strong emotions together, when we create something beautiful together, we can connect with other versions of ourselves. The other Rodriguez appeared again. The artifacts don't just show us other timelines. They can link our consciousness with humans in those timelines. This has never been possible for any other species. Dr. Wilson looked amazed. You mean we can actually work together across different realities? The other Wilson nodded. Yes, but it only works because humans have something special. We care about each other more than we care about ourselves. We can sacrifice for strangers. We can hope even when everything looks hopeless. The other Marcus spoke again. In our timeline. We learned this too late, but your timeline is different. You found the artifacts earlier. You have time to prepare. Prepare for what? Marcus asked. The Void Collective is coming to your reality, the other Marcus said. It will arrive in approximately 2 months. But if all the human timelines work together, we might be able to stop it. The other Sarah looked serious. Every timeline that found the artifacts sent messages like this one. We've been building a network of human consciousness across thousands of realities. What do we need to do? Elaine asked. The other Elaine smiled with real hope for the first time. We need to do what humans do best. We need to feel and create and love and hope. But we need to do it together across all timelines, the other Rodriguez explained. When humans from different realities connect through strong emotions, we create something the collective can't understand or destroy. The builders tried to fight with technology and weapons, the other Wilson said. But the collective can absorb those things. It can't absorb human love and creativity. The other Marcus looked directly at him one final time. Tell your world what's coming. Gather as many humans as possible. Teach them that their emotions and their creativity are not weaknesses. They are the most powerful weapons in the universe. The screens went dark. The artifacts stopped glowing. The tent was completely quiet. Marcus looked around at his team members. Everyone looked shocked, but also determined. We have 2 months, Dr. Rodriguez said quietly. 2 months to save not just our world, but all realities where humans exist. Elaine added. Marcus stood up. Then we better get started. 2 weeks had passed since the message from the other timelines. The small research camp had grown into a massive operation. People from every country on Earth had come to help. Scientists, artists, musicians, writers, teachers, and ordinary people who just wanted to make a difference. Dr. Marcus Chen stood on a hill overlooking the camp. Thousands of tents and temporary buildings covered the area. People worked day and night, preparing for the battle that would decide the fate of all realities. It's amazing how quickly people came together, Elaine said, joining him on the hill. When the world leaders announced the threat, I thought people would panic. Marcus smiled. Instead, they did what humans always do. They came to help. Down in the camp, children drew pictures while their parents worked with the artifacts. Musicians played songs that somehow made the alien objects glow brighter. Writers told stories that seemed to strengthen the connection between timelines. Dr. Eleanor Rodriguez approached them, carrying a tablet full of reports. The results are incredible. She said, we now have contact with over 3,000 different timelines where humans exist. How many have agreed to work together? Marcus asked. All of them. Rodriguez replied, every single timeline wants to fight the Void Collective together. They walked back toward the main research area. Inside the largest tent, the 7 original artifacts had been joined by dozens of similar objects found at other sites around the world. Each artifact now connected their timeline to different groups of humans and other realities. Dr. James Wilson was working with a team of children from the local school. Tell me again what you see when you touch the artifacts, he said to a 10-year-old girl named Emma. Emma placed her small hand on one of the glowing objects. I see other kids like me, she said with wonder. They're drawing pictures too, but their pictures move and change colors in ways that mine can't. Wilson made notes on his tablet. The children seemed to have the strongest connection, he told Marcus. Their imaginations help them see things we adults miss. In another section of the tent, Dr. Sarah Martinez was working with a group of artists. They had discovered that when people created art while touching the artifacts, the objects would share those creations across all timelines. Look at this, Sarah said, showing Marcus a painting on her screen. This was painted by someone in timeline 847. But when our artists here touch the artifacts while looking at it, they could somehow improve it and send it back. The painting showed humans from different worlds standing together against a dark force, but now it had been changed by artists from multiple timelines, each adding their own style and vision. It's like we're all working on the same masterpiece, Marcus said. Alain was working at a computer station nearby. The musicians discovered something similar. She said, when they play music while connected through the artifacts, musicians from other timelines can add their own instruments to the same song. She played an audio file. It was the most beautiful music Marcus had ever heard. Thousands of human voices and instruments from across the multiverse, all playing in perfect harmony. How is this possible? Marcus asked. We think it's because human creativity works differently than other species, Dr. Wilson explained. Other intelligent beings create things logically. They plan, they calculate, they make practical decisions. But humans create from emotion. Sarah added, we make art because we feel something inside that needs to come out. That emotional connection seems to work across timeline barriers. Dr. Rodriguez walked over to them with exciting news. We just received a message from Timeline 1205. They've made a breakthrough. She activated one of the artifacts. The screen showed a woman who looked like an older version of Sarah, but with different clothes and gray hair. My name is Dr. Sarah Chen, the woman said. Yes, I married my Marcus in this timeline, she added with a smile. We've been studying the Void Collective for 6 months. We discovered something important. The older Sarah continued. The collective isn't just one creature. It's made up of the emptiness left behind when species lose their ability to feel and create. Every world it destroys makes it stronger. Marcus felt a chill. So it's feeding on the destruction of imagination and emotion. Exactly, the older Sarah replied. But we also discovered its weakness. The collective cannot absorb or understand the combination of human love and sacrifice. When humans choose to help others even when it costs them something, it creates a force the collective cannot touch. Alain leaned forward. What do you mean? In our timeline, we watched the collective try to destroy a city where humans were helping each other evacuate. Parents carrying children, strangers helping strangers, people choosing to save others instead of themselves. The collective couldn't absorb that energy. Instead, it seemed to become weaker. Dr. Rodriguez looked thoughtful. So our plan to have all timelines work together might actually work. The older Sarah nodded. More than work. We think that if enough humans across enough timelines choose to act with love and creativity at the same time, we might not just stop the collective. We might transform it. Transform it into what? Marcus asked. We're not sure. The older Sarah admitted, but our calculations suggest that the collective is actually the universe's way of testing whether intelligent species can evolve beyond selfishness. Most species fail the test, but humans might be different. Over the next few days, the preparation became more organized. Each timeline specialized in different approaches to the coming battle. Timeline 847 focused on creating art that could exist across realities. Timeline 1205 worked on understanding the science behind the collective. Timeline 23 developed new ways for humans to connect emotionally across vast distances. Marcus's timeline became the coordination center. People from all over Earth came to help spread the connection to as many humans as possible. We need everyone, Alain explained to a group of new volunteers, children, adults, elderly people, artists, scientists, farmers, teachers. The collective is used to fighting species that think alike. It doesn't know how to handle the incredible diversity of human thoughts and feelings. Emma, the 10-year-old girl, ran up to Marcus with a drawing. Look what I made, she said proudly. The drawing showed stick figures of people holding hands. Around the entire Earth, above them, a dark cloud was turning into bright stars. The artifact helped me make this, Emma explained. Kids from other worlds helped me draw it. We all want the same thing. Marcus knelt down to Emma's level. What do you want? We want everyone to be safe and happy, Emma said simply, and all the worlds. Marcus looked around the camp. Thousands of people working together, sharing their creativity. choosing to help others even though they were scared. Artists creating beauty they might never see completed. Scientists sharing discoveries that might benefit other timelines more than their own. Parents teaching children that love was stronger than fear. 1 month left. Elaine said, joining them. Marcus stood up, still holding Emma's drawing. 1 month to show the universe what humans are really capable of. In the distance, all the artifacts began to glow brighter. Across 3,000 timelines, humans were preparing for the most important moment in the history of consciousness itself. The Void Collective was coming, but for the first time in cosmic history, it would face an opponent that fought not with weapons or technology, but with the infinite power of human love, creativity, and hope. The day had finally come. Dr. Marcus Chen stood in the main command tent, watching screens that showed activity from over 3,000 different timelines. In each reality, humans were gathering together, holding hands, creating art, and preparing for the most important moment in cosmic history. Sensors are detecting the approach, Dr. Eleanor Rodriguez announced. The Void Collective will arrive in 30 minutes. Marcus looked around the tent. Elaine stood next to him, holding his hand tightly. Dr. Sarah Martinez was coordinating with musicians around the world. Dr. James Wilson worked with children who were drawing pictures that somehow glowed with their own light. Remember, Marcus said to everyone in the tent, this isn't about fighting. This is about showing the universe what it means to be human outside. The sky was beginning to change. Dark clouds were forming, but they weren't normal clouds. They seemed to absorb light and sound, making everything feel empty and cold. Elaine squeezed Marcus's hand. Are you scared? She asked quietly. Yes, Marcus replied honestly. But I'm also hopeful, and I think that's exactly what we need. Emma, the 10-year-old girl who had been helping with the artifacts, ran into the tent carrying her latest drawing. This one showed all the timelines connected by streams of colorful light, with humans in each timeline holding hands and smiling. The artifacts are showing me something, Emma said excitedly. All the kids from other worlds made this picture together. Look, she held up her drawing, and incredibly, the images on the paper began to move like a video. Children from across the multiverse waved at them from the paper. It's time. Dr. Rodriguez announced, the collective has entered our solar system. Through the tent windows, they could see the sky turning completely black. Stars were disappearing one by one. The air felt heavy and sad, as if all the joy was being sucked out of the world. All timelines, begin coordination. Marcus spoke into his communicator dot across Earth. And across thousands of other Earths in different realities, humans began to act as one. Musicians played the song they had created together across timelines. Artists held up paintings that showed light conquering darkness. Writers read stories about hope and love. Children drew pictures of better worlds, but most importantly, people chose to help each other. In New York, strangers helped each other stay calm as the dark clouds gathered. In Tokyo, families shared food with neighbors they had never met. In London, elderly people told stories to comfort frightened children. In small villages around the world, communities came together and refused to let fear win. The artifacts in the tent began to glow so brightly that everyone had to shield their eyes. On the screens, they could see the same thing happening in every timeline. It's working, Elaine said with wonder. Look at the readings. The sensors showed that wherever humans were acting with love and creativity, the Void Collective's power was weakening. The darkness couldn't absorb the energy that came from people choosing to care for each other. But then something terrible happened. The collective seemed to adapt. The darkness became deeper and stronger, pushing back against the human efforts. It's learning, Dr. Wilson said with worry. It's trying to overcome our emotional connections. On the screens, they could see some timelines going dark. In those realities, the collective was winning. Marcus felt despair beginning to creep into his heart. What if we're not strong enough? That's when Emma spoke up. We need to do what the drawing shows, she said, pointing to her picture. We need all the timelines to hold hands at the same time. What do you mean? Sarah asked. Emma looked at the adults with the simple wisdom that only children possess. We're all trying to fight by ourselves in each world. But we're supposed to be one big family across all the worlds. Marcus understood. She's right. We've been coordinating, but we haven't been truly connecting. Alain nodded. We need to stop thinking of ourselves as separate timelines and start thinking of ourselves as one human family. Marcus picked up the communicator that connected to all realities, all timelines. This is Chen from Timeline Prime. We need to try something new. His voice reached humans across thousands of realities. We need to stop fighting as individual worlds and start acting as one species across all realities. How do we do that? Came a voice from Timeline 847. Emma took the communicator from Marcus. Close your eyes and think about someone you love, she said into the device. Not just in your world, but in all worlds. Think about all the kids and parents and friends in every timeline. Love all of them at the same time. It sounded simple. But as billions of humans across thousands of realities followed Emma's instructions, something incredible happened. The artifact stopped just glowing and began singing. It was a sound like music, but deeper and more beautiful than any song ever created. The sound spread across all timelines simultaneously. Marcus closed his eyes and thought about Alain, but also about all the other versions of Alain and other timelines. He thought about Emma and all the children like her across the multiverse. He thought about his parents, his friends, and even strangers he had never met in worlds he would never visit. Around him, everyone else was doing the same thing. They were choosing to love not just their own families and friends, but all of humanity across all realities. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. The darkness of the Void Collective began to change. Instead of absorbing light and hope, it began to reflect them. Look at the sky, Alain shouted. The black clouds were transforming. They were becoming mirrors that showed the best moments from human history across all timelines. Images of people helping each other, creating beautiful art, exploring new worlds, and choosing love over fear. The Void Collective had tried to consume humanity's emotional energy, but instead, it was being transformed by it. It's not being destroyed, Dr. Rodriguez said with amazement. It's being changed into something else. The darkness continued to transform. Where there had been empty void, there were now streams of light connecting all the timelines. The collective was becoming a network that would help spread human love and creativity across the entire universe. We didn't defeat it, Marcus realized. We healed it. Emma smiled and nodded. It was sad and lonely. It needed friends. As the transformation completed, Marcus received messages from all the other timelines. The same thing had happened everywhere. The Void Collective had become something new, a cosmic force that would help intelligent species learn to love and create instead of destroying them for it. What happens now? Alain asked. Through the artifacts, they received an answer from the transformed collective itself. Its voice was warm and kind, like a parent speaking to beloved children. Now we work together, the voice said. Humanity has shown the universe that love and creativity are not weaknesses to be eliminated, but strengths to be celebrated. You will help other species learn what you have learned. Marcus looked around at his friends and colleagues. They had not only saved their own reality, but had transformed a cosmic destroyer into a cosmic teacher. So we're not just explorers or survivors, Marcus said. We're teachers. Emma nodded sagely. We teach other people how to be happy and make pretty things. As the sky returned to normal, filled with stars that seemed brighter than before, Marcus realized that this was just the beginning. Humanity had found its purpose in the universe, not to conquer or to dominate, but to spread the incredible power of human love, creativity, and hope to every corner of existence. The phone in his pocket chimed softly. He looked at the screen and smiled. There was a new photo, all of humanity across all timelines, holding hands and looking toward a future filled with infinite possibilities. Is that us on your phone? Alain asked, looking over his shoulder. Yes, Marcus replied. All of us, everywhere, forever.